Hello, readers. Today's read takes us to Berkshire, England, my hometown. We are reading Falling for You by Emily Maple, read by TR Reading Nook. I really suggest an oversized sweatshirt, a pumpkin spice latte, it's still cold outside so it's okay, and a comfy spot on that sofa. Enjoy. Chapter 1, 7 days earlier. Annie. My name is Annie Glover and I have a confession. I am addicted to autumn. I can't help it. I love absolutely everything about it. If there was an autumn addicts group, I'd be first in line preparing to swear on a pumpkin spiced latte, not to buy any more oversized scarves or chunky knit sweaters. I'm the person who stuffs my sweaty body into a crocheted jumper on the 1st of September, even when summer is still roaring in the sky. I give a little cheer when I see the new Starbucks menu come out, and I once felt my eyes well up when I crunched on the first autumn leaves that had fallen on the pavement. I need to point out here that I was very hormonal at the time, and later that day also cried at my flatmate Penny making me a cup of tea without asking when I got out of the bath. But still, no ordinary person cries over a leaf. Except perhaps Alan Titchmarsh. I love the way the leaves change to golden yellow and rich plum red. I love the moment you step outside and it feels as if you're breathing in toothpaste and your cheeks are being lightly pinched. I love the feeling of going back to school, seeing children in fresh uniforms and stocking up on shiny new stationery at W.H. Smith. It brings a little glow right below my heart, every year without fail. I know a lot of people claim to love autumn, but really the reason that they love it is because it's leading up to Christmas. That is not true love. For me, Christmas is like the after party. I'm still wearing my cozy jumper and ridiculous scarf, but I've reluctantly swapped my witch's hat for a Santa one. Which brings me to what I love about autumn the most: Halloween. I love the costumes. I love the Halloween films. I love all the themed foods and the way everyone dresses up on TV. It's the only time of year where everybody celebrates being a bit weird and wonderful on the same day by letting out their inner spook. I look at myself in the mirror and feel a swell of pride. If Halloween costumes were an Olympic sport, I'm not. Saying I'd win gold, but I'd certainly be a medalist. Actually, screw it, I'd win gold, I look great. I had the idea for my costume the day after the annual Halloween party that Penny, Tanya and I threw in our flat just outside Clapham last year. I was face down on the sofa trying to nurse my double hangover, one induced by the vodka, and the other induced by the fact that my favourite night of the year was over. To cheer me up, Tanya started telling me how great everyone said my costume was. I had dressed up as Wednesday Addams and my costume had included a secret compartment, meaning I could scare the life out of everyone by using one of my hands as thing, and simultaneously trick them into thinking I had 3 hands. I mean, yes, Liam almost fell off the balcony mid-cigarette when I used the third hand to offer him a lighter, but still, it was fantastic. Anyway, it was then that I started brainstorming my next unassuming costume, and the idea came to me. I was going to be a bat. Now, I'm not one of those people who take Halloween as an excuse to dress up as a sexy witch or prowl around in a mask. I mean, sure, I can totally see the appeal. Who wouldn't want to stomp around in a nightclub feeling like the 5th member of Little Mix for an evening? But for me, I can't resist the chance to completely transform myself into something grotesque, and I'm not the only one. I almost make a living out of it. I turn to the side and narrow my eyes in the reflection. Mum taught me how to sew when I was a teenager. I found hovering behind her in Topshop excruciating, looking at the clothes that other girls my age wore. None of them felt quite right on my awkward teenage body. Honestly, I don't know how the other girls had the confidence. So, I asked Mum if we could make my clothes ourselves. I did textiles at school, and it turned into a regular activity that Mum and I spent most of our Sundays doing. It's even become a little business for us, the Stitching Witches. It doesn't make enough for us to do it full time, but it's still fun. It turns out I'm pretty damn good at it. People come to me year after year requesting their costumes, and I have quite a following on social media now. It's not just Halloween. I'll make costumes throughout the year, as long as they're looking for something slightly bizarre and over the top. If you're looking for a sexy Victoria's Secret style costume, I'm not your girl. If you want to convince people that you've dislocated your shoulder, which jerks out every time they touch you, hit me up. In an ideal world, I'd spend my life making these costumes, and maybe one day it'll happen. I mean, it could happen now, if I was content living in a shoebox for the rest of my life and stealing breadcrumbs off the birds in the park. My costume this year is black, and ever so slightly furry. Not in a chic Sarah Jessica Parker way, more how otters look when they slip out of the water. Sleek until you touch it. At first it looks like a giant cape. It scrunches around my neck with an elaborate black collar, covering my whole body. But when you pull a lever, the wings pop out and reveal what is underneath the cape, and you see the catsuit I've made. The bones of the bat's body are embedded using thick plastic straws, and grotesque patches of fur sprout out randomly. On the night, I'll slick back my dark hair and wear red contact lenses, and then when everyone has had a few drinks and they're least expecting it, I'll pull the lever and bam, my costume will be fully unveiled. I pick up my phone and take a picture to send to my mum, my biggest fan. She replies almost immediately, "Wow, love it." I smile. Halloween is this weekend, and finally all my hard work will have paid off. Mum is one of the only people who fully understands why I love Halloween so much. It's the one time of year where you're celebrated for being a bit weird and quirky, and I feel confident behind the mask of my costume. For once, I want people to look at me, even though I'm dressed like a bat or a witch, or even a rotting carcass. On Halloween, I feel more like myself than any other night of the year. And I don't care if I'm 32 or 92, I am, never letting that sense of freedom go. Excuse me. Being 5 foot tall, carrying 2 laptops and a coffee in rush hour on the tube should be illegal. Actually, it should be a bush tucker trial. It's an absolute bloody endurance test. I put myself into a free space, right in the corner of the carriage. As the doors of the northern line squeeze shut, forcing everyone to suck themselves in slightly, praying that the train actually moves, and nobody will have to gracefully offer to step off and wait for the next train. Spoiler, nobody ever offers. It's more of an awkward standoff where everyone avoids eye contact until the person closest to the door is gently shoved back onto the platform and nobody mentions it. I'm surrounded by a sea of navy blue and grey. Business folk galore. I first arrived in London with Penny and Tanya ready to take on the world, aged 22, and, freshly equipped with my shiny new art degree, I'd had 3 years of being top of my class and everyone begging me to make their costumes for them. For every themed night of our social calendars. I also had that impenetrable bravado that comes from 3 years of bobbing around in the university bubble. Completely unaware that you're about to be spat into the real world, where not only are you not at the top of your class anymore, but nobody really cares that you were in the first place. By this point in my life, I had an entire wardrobe filled with clothes that I'd made myself, with the odd piece that Mum had created. I don't know where I thought I'd work, as none of my clothes were fashionable, but I knew it would be something to do with designing and making clothes. I knew it in my bones, I was so confident. Until the 3 of us found a flat, and I realized that, in order to live there, I'd need to fork out £900 a month, before bills, every month. My successful business was making about £500 each month, which felt like an enormous success to us all as broke, desperate students. But as graduates trying to make it in London, it was laughable. So, I tucked my elaborate tail between my legs and started trying to flog my soul to the corporate grind. But guess what? Nobody wanted me there either. Once Penny had been snapped up at a university to do her PhD and work as a scientific researcher, and Tanya had taken a junior position in fashion PR, I desperately grabbed with both hands the first job I was offered and refused to let it go. I was so terrified that I'd lose it and have to give up my life in London and move back to my hometown in the Cotswolds that I put my heart and soul into it. And it turned out I'm actually good at it. You're looking at Annie Glover, relocation consultant. I know, right? Put that on a business card and smoke it. I found the advert pinned up on the notice board at my local newsagent and, honestly, it felt like a sign from the universe. By this point, I'd been madly sending my CV into the abyss, only to be ghosted with such force that it made me wonder whether I even existed. When I saw the ad, I literally ripped it off the notice board and ran away with it, in a mad panic that someone else might steal the only job I felt that I could actually do. It said this: looking for Pa, receptionist for my consultancy. Call Pam. That was it. No list of fancy benefits, no promise of a communal fruit bowl or dress-down Fridays. Why do employers think this is what everyone wants? Who is spending their free time desperately searching for a place where they can finally wear their wacky tie out in public? I rang Pam immediately and found out that she lived in Battersea, where she was running her relocation consultancy, which basically means that we help find homes, schools, and whatever else a client might need when they are being relocated for work. For 3 years, it was just me and Pam, sharing a desk in her back room and mindlessly racing from one client meeting to the next to try and get the business off the ground. But 7 years later, we're in a swanky Moorgate office with a team of 6 and our own desks, along with a pay rise and fancy new job title, but the desks were the biggest deal for everyone. Nobody wants to share a desk with "I'll eat an orange on the phone and leave the peel all over the keyboard" Kevin. I now have my own list of clients and spend a lot of my time going out for lunches, showing them potential houses and schools, and trying not to visibly wince when they inevitably turn their nose up at the gargantuan home I've shown them, because it's too close to a bin on the street, or something equally absurd. I'm essentially rubbing shoulders with the rich and travelled and helping them to set up their shiny new lives in shiny new London. I take a deep breath and puff out my chest as we sail past Bank. Okay, the next stop is mine. I eye up the people around me, trying to make it clear that I'm going to need to part these bitches like the Red Sea in approximately 90 seconds. The train growls to a halt, and I start to shuffle forwards, the flock of padded shoulders shifting from one foot to the other like claustrophobic pigeons. "Excuse me," I bellow, in my loudest voice. "This is my stop." Everyone clucks and totters around a bit more, reluctant to get off the train even for a moment in case they aren't let back on. But I have to get off. I cannot stay trapped on this train until High Barnet. Pam won't believe me if I say it's happened for the 3rd time this year. "Excuse me," I yell, and bury my face forwards, pushing my way out. I spot people glancing down in alarm as I barrel past their waists towards the light of the open door. "Sorry," I mutter, heat rolling up my body, as a variety of odors hit me in the face. "I just need to. Sorry. I gasp as I pop out onto the platform, as if the carriage has just birthed me, and push myself up to my full height. "Right," I mutter to myself. "Well done me, good morning everyone." I sing as I burst into the office. We have part of the 3rd floor of an enormous corporate building. It sounds fancy, but really means we have one room, a toilet and a kitchen, and we have to share a lift with lots of serious people in suits. We were given free rein with the office when we first got in, so Pam handed us all some paintbrushes and told us that she couldn't afford an interior designer. My controlling behavior took over immediately, and I found myself fighting flashing images of all my colleagues going rogue and painting self-portraits or something equally horrendous and fun. So I shepherded them all off to the bathroom as quickly as I could and told them to paint it white. An hour later they were so bored that they all went to the pub. It worked like a charm. Pam gave me her credit card and told me to Annie-fy it, so I did. I painted the walls a gorgeous mossy green and used a shimmering silver paint to draw a huge tree that curled over the ceiling. It was the most fun I'd had in years. Holding that paintbrush felt a bit like I was reconnecting back to my energy source. "Good morning, Annie." I look round at Pam's voice and, as expected, I see her hunched over her laptop. Pam has wild blonde hair which grows out instead of down in tight, springy curls. She's wearing a loose, oversized shirt which reaches her knees and big jangly necklaces around her tanned neck. She built this business from nothing and spends so long craning over her laptop that her back has developed a slight hump and the skin around her eyes is creased from the hours of squinting at the computer screen. She always has an unlit cigarette in her mouth, ready to smoke. I've spent hours telling her off for smoking inside, though she rarely even smokes them these days. She's too busy. "Morning, Pam," I smile, putting my bag down on my desk. "How are you? I need to ask you a favor." I used to take offense at Pam's utter disregard for small talk. When it was just the two of us, I'd bumble in every Monday, excited to talk about our weekends and see if she's watching the new series of I'm a Celeb. And I'd be met with silence. Or worse, a look of complete bafflement. I lean on the desk opposite hers. Sure, what's up? Pam scowls at her computer, clicking her mouse vigorously. This turned up today. She kicks a box by her foot, and I glance down, my heart turning over. I have no idea where it's come from or what it even is. I know what it is. I also know where it's come from, because I ordered it after a particularly jolly night in the pub with Pam, where I thought she was so full of spirit and joy that of course she'd want an entire box of Halloween decorations delivered to the office to spruce the place up a bit. All I'd have to do is ask her, just out of manners really, because she'd definitely say yes. Except I went home and ordered it on the company credit card, went to sleep and swiftly forgot all about it, which also meant forgetting to ask Pam. Oh, I say, trying my best to sound curious as I kneel down to look at the box. It looks like Halloween decorations. Oh my God, these are fantastic. I'd forgotten how brilliant this company were. I start leafing through the decorations excitedly. There's cauldron bunting, ghosts that sway off the ceiling, and a talking pumpkin, I cry, pulling it out of the box in amazement. Pam, look at this. Pam doesn't break her eye contact with her laptop. Right, I say, taking a deep breath and forcing myself to remain professional and not start laying out all the decorations in height order, so I can send them to my mum and we can both fangirl over how great they are. I've got you, Pam. I will put this all up around the office for you. Pam points her pen at me and I jump. Not that singing, pumpkin shit, she says. That can go in the bin. It can't go in the bin. I squeal, holding the pumpkin. Two. My chest like it's my firstborn child. There are two of them. They belong together. Pam looks up at me and I see a smile quiver on her thin lips. Fine. Take them home with you, I beam. Really, yes, seeing as you ordered it all anyway. I feel my face fall and I'm about to gush an apology when I notice Pam smirking at me. You're the boss, I say, doing a fake curtsy. I'm about to turn and walk into the kitchen when I spot Pam's computer screen filled with pictures of India. Oh, I say. What are you looking at? She snaps her browser shut and goes back to her emails. Don't be nosy. Was it India? Are you thinking of traveling? Rodney is, she says pointedly. He's got this mad idea about us taking a year off and traveling around the world together. He thinks we both work too hard. You do work too hard. I raise my eyebrows at her. But she clicks her tongue at me, laughing. Do you want a coffee? I call over my shoulder as I walk into the kitchen. There are 6 of us who work here now, but for the first hour of the morning it's usually just me and Pam, and to be honest, that's when I like it best. I mean, sure, she doesn't want to engage in any small talk whatsoever, and some days she doesn't even look at me from over her computer, but I quite like it. It's always the same, and there is something quite calming about that. Go on then, Pam says, but a normal one, none of your pumpkin shit. I laugh, rolling my eyes as I pull our 2 mugs down from the cupboard. Like I'd waste my pumpkin spice syrup on Pam. She doesn't even know who Morticia Adams is.